It is 12 noon in Oslo, 6 a.m. in Washington. I'm Monita Rajpal.
And I'm Zain Verjee. You're watching World One live from London.
Has admitted carrying out 2 deadly terror attacks in Norway, is expected to make his first court appearance in the next couple of hours. This is 32-year-old Anders Behring Breivik. He is the man in custody charged with carrying out Friday's bomb attack in central Oslo, then going on a shooting rampage at a summer camp for young people. 93 people are dead, at least 4 are still missing. Breivik's lawyer says his client believes his actions were, quote, horrible but necessary, and he's ready to explain himself before the court. I'll show you what newspapers around the world are saying about this. The Wall Street Journal has an opinion piece with the headline, "Inside the Mind of the Oslo Murderer." It says it came as stunning news that Norway had been attacked by a blonde, blue-eyed, anti-Islamic terrorist. It should not have been. He considered the Labour Party responsible for policies that are leading to the Islamization of Europe and thus guilty of treason. In the United Arab Emirates, the National's headline is "The plague of Islamophobia rears its head in Norway." It goes on to say, even among people who would be indignant at being thought racist, it is common to find confusion between a religion and the actions of a few of its faithful. And finally, here in the UK, The Independent has an opinion piece with the headline, "A lesson that European history can teach us." It goes on to say, some politicians and often police and media have considered the radical fringes of the extreme right as a folkloristic phenomenon or simply a form of harmless nostalgia for Nazism. Have we paid enough attention to this? Probably not. How did Amy Winehouse die? The search for answers is expected to begin today when police set a date and time for the singer's post-mortem. The troubled star was found dead in her London apartment on Saturday. Police say the 27-year-old's death is being treated as unexplained. Winehouse won fame for her soulful, throaty voice, but she also earned notoriety for her drug problems, arrests, and erratic behavior. Well, fans are leaving flowers, candles and handwritten notes outside Amy's house as a tribute to the talented but troubled entertainer. Our Nina DeSantos shows us the scene outside her home.
She was a musical icon.
Agree?
How about shoes and vintage clothing? That's happiness there, right there.
How about Bali or the
Bali.
Maldives?
Wear your shoes in Bali. Well, a tropical storm now is expected to move into the Philippines, bringing with it a lot of heavy rain. Meteorologist Ivan Cabrera is at the World Weather Center with more on that. Ivan.
Indeed, we're going to be talking about the rain here, and holidays are very expensive to take anyway, right? All right, we're checking in on the Philippines. I tell you what, the storm is nowhere near the Philippines. 40 degrees. Anita.
All right. Okay, Ivan, thank you very much. As we mentioned earlier, the troubled star Amy Winehouse was found dead in her London apartment on Saturday. Police say the 27-year-old's death is still being treated as unexplained. We want to get more on the story from CNN's Atika Schubert, who joins us now live from outside the singer's London home. And Atika, we understand that the police are hoping to conduct a post-mortem at some point today.
That's what we understand, that it will be scheduled for some point today, but it's not likely we'll get results today. That may take a while yet. Just to let you know, we're right outside the home here, and as you can see, there's people have been laying flowers all throughout the last day or so. Just so many people coming in here to pay their respects and express how sad they are. And we just had a very poignant moment, actually, where Amy Winehouse's family came here.
Search continues for victims of Friday's deadly shooting on the Norwegian island of Utøya. That's where 32-year-old Anders Behring Breivik opened fire on a Labour Party youth camp, killing dozens of people. 4 are still missing. CNN's Diana Magne is covering the story for us from there. She joins us from Zuvondel, just across from Utøya. Diana, there are questions that have been asked about why it took police so long to get to the island. We understand this, it took some 55 minutes to get to the island. Are any more questions or answers to that concern?
Well, the police have come out with a chronology of, you know, what exactly happened when they got the response, etc., etc., etc. There is no doubt that it did take them a considerable amount of time to get to the island.
Magne reporting to us there. Well, the suspect's request to be allowed, as we've been saying, the opportunity to explain himself in an open court is stirring a lot of debate online. A Facebook group called Shut the Courtroom Doors on Monday has also been set up and already has over 66 100,000 members. We want to see what people online are saying. One person who calls himself as One, uses the username One, writes, he killed so many to have a voice. Deny him one. This will hurt him more than jail. Another user, Craig Mason, has, part of me feels the media should largely ignore Anders Breivik today. However, the families of the victims do deserve a why. We have Richard Rosilio saying we need to know the facts. We do not need to hear his views. And another Twitter user, Trevor Bragg, says Anders Breivik in court shouldn't be hidden and be open to the public. Show the world that he is deluded and dangerous. Of course, much more controversy, much more debate taking place. The stalemate over the U.S. debt ceiling is being felt around the world, and it looks like investors on Wall Street are in for a pretty anxious session when trading begins in just a few hours. Time for more on this. We're joined by CNN's Charles Hodson. What can we expect from Wall Street?
Well, slightly lower open. I mean, if we can have a look at the U.S. futures numbers, they were down by as much as 1% to start off with, but they do tend to be relatively volatile in the few hours before trading. We've got 3 hours to go after all.
Just be looking for, what are markets looking for within this deal, should they reach one?
I think what they're looking for is something which is realistic and sensible, and which in the broader scheme of things will pave the way for a reduction of US debt.
Thank you very much for that. You'll have more on that in World Business Day later on.
The credit rating agency Moody's says last week's deal to hand Greece a second bailout helps to stabilize the Eurozone debt crisis, but virtually ensures losses ahead for holders of Greek bonds. As a result, it's cutting its rating on the bonds by another 3 notches.
America's top football trophy was handed out on Sunday night in Argentina, and Pedro Pinto joins us now with that.
I do indeed. Good to see both of you. Let me tell you all about it. Uruguay won the Copa America for a record 15th time after a convincing victory over Paraguay. France-based news on your sports update on this Monday morning.
What's happening
Merci. You're watching World One live from London.
Breaking her silence. The woman accusing the former IMF chief of sexual assault speaks out.
World One live from London.
We are approaching almost 7 a.m. in New York, 1 p.m. in Berlin, and 8 p.m. in Tokyo. The hotel maid who's accused the former head of the International Monetary Fund of attempted rape has gone public with her identity. Nafissatou Diallo has spoken to American television and Newsweek magazine, giving a vivid account of the alleged sexual assault by Dominique Strauss-Kahn. Her credibility has been questioned by Strauss-Kahn's lawyers and by prosecutors, but she says they conducted a smear campaign against her. CNN's Susan Candiotti has been following the story in New York, and she joins us now. Susan, what more do we know about the accounts that she's reliving for American media?
Well, she certainly lays it all out. We haven't learned anything especially new, but for the first time, what's important about this is that we are hearing this from her directly.
Susan Candiotti there. Thank you so much.
This is World One live from London. I'm Zain Verjee.
I'm Monita Rajpal. We'll continue to have a special coverage of the Norway attacks coming up in just a couple of minutes.